Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Here on the shores of Goat Refuge Lake at Escambia Lakes, and we're showing you a little bit today of what I've been working on. On these shores, we have this grade going up with nice bahia grass growing. We have thinned some pine, and we're going to thin more. There's a bit of a concentration of pine up here, but we're in the second year of planting a little out here in some rows, and we've just retilled these 3 rows right here. There's a 4th row down there also that was planted here very early here in the winter. This has got some lime mint planted in it, and that'll soon be, we'll propagate it further in there in between the clumps. We'll dig and put some more rhizomes and clippings and stuff. Anyway, so what we're doing right now, this is one of the important rows where we're planting quite a mix of flowers. Some very interesting flowers and herbs. We have at the top of the list our Abelmoschus manihot, which is known as, the regular name is sunset huskmellow, which produces beautiful yellow flowers throughout the summer. And there's also carrots and beets planted in here. So these are potted plants that were grown last year, and those stems just need to be trimmed. Those are the old plant growth and the stem that came up, and all the new growth comes up from the roots, and they make it through the winter here. They're a good perennial flower plant that produces big beautiful yellow flowers with little red centers, bigger than your hand, for several months throughout the summer, continuous blooms. So I've run through here with a tiller today, with a hand-operated gasoline tiller that does about 1.5 feet with rototiller, and it's a Troy-built Super Bronco. So I've gone through here pretty good with it, but I wanted to emphasize something here. If anyone out there that isn't so well initiated thinks that they're just going to run a tiller and then plant some plants in an area where there's been bahia grass growing, or almost anything really, well, I'm sorry, but the results are not going to be anywhere near what they could be. What I'm getting at is, see this little spade shovel? You can tell from the shine on this thing. This thing gets its use. Yes, I've tilled, but I need to go and I need to plunge this shovel in as deep as I can get it. And I need to remove as many bahia rhizomes as I can. Now this place right here I've already been through, so you're not going to find the bigger rhizomes because I've already grabbed them. But even these smaller ones, these can grow out too. Now, some will come up and we'll weed them out as other plants grow, and then other plants, some of the things we're growing in here, including sunflowers, will provide some shade, and the sunset huskmellow and the rose mallow, the pink, that we're planting those in here too. And we're planting some herbs, basil, oregano, some thyme, and down there's ambrette is going instead of the sunset huskmellow. So as you can see here on the lower edge of this row, you can see the bigger bahia rhizomes that I've dug out. One thing we like about bahia is it's such a great hardy plant, spreading by the rhizomes, holding the soil, enriching the soil. I see it out here, is how this bahia grass enriches the soil. Yes, it's in there, it's tenacious, but it can be dug up. it's mainly the bigger rhizomes you need to get out. If you leave some of the smaller ones, you know, it's okay. If you know some grass will come up a little, you can pull it out. And since it's been tilled, they'll pull out a lot easier. You can't pull them out when it hasn't been tilled. I mean, nothing's pulling out. You have to cut, you have to dig into the soil. So you go through a couple phases of this. It typically takes 2 years, you know, cycling through, and then you can pretty much eliminate the bahia from your growing row. But keep it for your alleyways. Keep it for other places. Bahia is lovely. Under the trees, a shady, nice place. We love the bahia. It's actually some of the greatest feed for our goats and ducks, and it's just wonderful grass. But anyways, so here I am at the forefront of the shovel work, you know, after the tiller's been in, and this is where I'm, you know, sifting through here and pulling out these rhizomes. Got to break up some clumps, some clods of soil. Look at that soil, though. Look at how the bahia, you know, it just develops the soil well, folks. When you take bahia that's been thriving in an area out like this, ooh, that soil produces, and it's clean. There hasn't been other weeds and things growing in there because the bahia overpowers everything else. I mean, there's a few weeds that grow through it, and then we have, of course, our Scotch broom that grows out here in places quite a bit. Last year there was a lot of it growing out here, but that's good too. Dig the clumps out of that and the finer roots, and the soil's good under them. This row actually got some lime and compost last year when we tilled and planted here, but this is the first really thorough removal of the bahia rhizomes. That's what you want. You gotta get that out of there because that's gonna grow. That's sitting in the soil. That's gonna grow. We don't mind a little bit. Like I say, we just want to get it out. Plus, we want to get everything aerated, everything cultivated down there deep for the new plants, for their roots to be able to grow down in there and get the nutrients, and for water to absorb well and all. And we got a row of sprinklers right up here with a ball valve on each riser. So the bigger picture is, I just wanted to especially make this note for just a documentation purposes, and anybody who knows this should understand. This is a lot of work, folks. We aren't just coming out here and running some little machine over and then throwing some seeds out or something. Do you understand me? That nothing's growing like that. Nothing grows like that. Barely would things survive. They'd be stunted. They're not going to make it like that. It takes hard work to make something from something, you know? I always refer back to that beautiful song by Rush back in the, what was it, the 70s? Something for nothing. You can't get something for nothing. Anyways, look up that song. I'm not going to sing it here today. I'm not primed for that. Although I do sing it from time to time, and I love the guitar work on it. And one of my first inspirations is a guitar player, and I played all the Rush songs and way back in the 70s. So with a shovel, it's pretty much one hand, left, right, whatever you can bear. If you got limitations in one hand or arm or whatever, just you're getting tired with one, switch to the other. Got to be ambidextrous and all kinds of manual work. I do painting work, and I got to be ambidextrous, painting and plastering work. Otherwise, I'm using it more like an oar, where I got the right hand on this handle, left down here, and I kind of use it like an oar, and that's the main productivity. That's where you got both arms, your whole body, and you're sitting down on the ground, you know, comfortably with your spine up straight, and that's how you get in and dig to it. Sorry, I'd say it's kind of strange that I'm trying to I'm telling you how I do it, okay? I'm not saying you have to do it that way. All right, I'm not saying that many people are going to subscribe to that. But for those of you who do this work, I think you'll appreciate that I'm making this point for you and me and all of us. It's hard work, okay? This is not easy work we're doing out here. Gardening, farming. You know, you can drive through the farming country and you can just see these big fields and this big equipment out there, and you know, you think, well, God, that's how they're doing it. They're just, it's not so tough. I mean, they're driving around, getting good work. Look at all the production, and that's a different type of farming, folks. You're not going to compete with them when they're growing Georgia runner peanuts or cotton. So these specialty crops that you might choose are something that they typically aren't growing or can't easily grow, or just really there's no equipment made for it. It actually requires the labor to plant, to harvest it. It requires human labor, or it's just smaller scale that you're not producing it that large to warrant using all that big heavy equipment, the very expensive equipment. Smaller patches. This row right here, you know, 200 foot of a row that's 4 foot, 5 foot wide. You can produce a lot from a row like this, and then you get, you know, you do more rows around the place like this. You don't have to plant huge amounts of acres. 1/8 acre here, 1/4 acre here, in there, you know, and you can produce a lot. We're multi-cropping too, so we've got things growing in the spring and summer, harvested in the fall, with other things already coming up and emerging in the fall, and then harvested before the deep freezes, and then, you know, other things that are harvested early spring and going into summer while other things start growing again. And there's other things that we harvest during the same season. We multi-crop certain crops in. We got a lot of those combinations that we've done and that we're doing as new studies. This year there's a lot of that going on. There's some plants that actually benefit from the larger plants growing around them and the filtered light and shade, and the bigger plants benefit from the holding of the soil and the you know, the erosion control and the weed suppression and such. And there's a lot of synergy going on. All right, folks, that sun's dipping down right now. I gotta get this work done. I gotta get seeds in the ground, at least on this section here. It's better for me just to do a little bit here now and not go and put seeds down in the other area. It has to be dug first. Otherwise, it's a waste of the time. It's a waste of the precious resources and everything. That's one of the main points I'm here to make. You got to get down with this little shovel, folks.